Do you see any rookies right now out there that you're like, a lot of promise? I like this guy.
I mean, I think, you could go back to your point real quick, is that I think you make a good point, because when I was growing up, I never had a personal quarterback coach. Like, I never had anybody that I went and worked with, day in and day out, or going through the draft process, or it was always on my own, kind of learning and then taking things for different coaches, where a lot of these guys do now. They have this team around them, or they've got this, QB guru that they go to and maybe has been coaching them for years. And so, maybe that is the guy that they go to mentor, and they don't need, as you said, a lot of cooks in the kitchen. So that is something that I think is different with the landscape. Going to your question about, young quarterbacks, and I'm not ready to say about the rookies yet, but I tell you what, the class from last year was really fun to watch, the ones that played last year. I'm really excited to see them in year two. Jayden Daniels, Drake May, I was really impressed with the way that he played. Excited to see him in year two. Michael Penix, we just got a touch of what he did, but I was a big fan coming out of college and thought he showed some really good things. Bo Nix had a really good year and got better and better and better. J.J. McCarthy, I think we're all excited to see that, hey, Sam Darnold was awesome, but, they felt so strongly about J.J. that they're like, hey, let's push him, to Seattle and let's go with the guy that we drafted. And so I'm really excited to see that draft class. I mean, they were really, really good last year. Want to see if they can stack something on top of it and show that improvement this year, because, very seldom do you see that many guys that look like they hit in one quarterback class. But it sure looked like we had a number of guys that really have the potential. I didn't even mention Caleb, which I think I'm really excited to see him in this new offense with what Ben Johnson does, and see if, we can kind of throw a little bit of that rookie year out, and see where he can grow this year, and if he can kind of step into that number one pick role too. But I'm really excited about all those guys. I think they all showed some moments last year that you could build off them, and it has to have their fan base and their organizations really excited.
Why is there a sophomore slump? Why does that seem to always kind of happen every year? You kind of see it.
Yeah.
Like I saw it with CJ Stroud and I went, oh, like first year it was like, oh, this guy's got the break. And then even with Baker, it like first year he's out, boom. And then second year I'm like, wait, what's going on? Why does that happen?
Yeah. I think usually two things in my opinion. The first thing is, we always say that, nobody really has a book on you until you play a full season. And by that, I mean, to look at your tendencies and what you like to do and where you're really good and what kind of things gave you trouble on a season. Do you get a season under your belt and people can start building this and start looking at the analytics and where did you struggle and you struggle against pressure, was really good against pressure, those kinds of things. And so I think that's the first thing, is the more you play, the more people start to understand who you are and what you do, and they try to take advantage of it. I think the second thing, I remember back to that first year in '99. I don't want to say the game was easy, but it felt like, we had kind of a new offense that year. I was new to the scene, but it felt like that first year that I was throwing to my first read a lot. Like nobody really knew what we were offensively. And so, I was getting kind of drop back. Oh, my first guy's open. I just got to play pitch and catch with them. And then you get into the second and third year, and even though the stats might not have been as good, I would always think, oh, man, I'm playing better football because teams are taking away my number one, and I'm working quickly to number three, and I'm able to process information. I'm getting through all this stuff. And that's what they do, is they start to go, okay, this is kind of how their offense is built. Let's take that away, and let's force the quarterback to get beyond number one, to have to see things, to disguise things a little bit more. And so now, these quarterbacks in year two, even though they may be a little better quarterback, it's harder to play the position because teams know who you are. They're trying to take what you do away well, trying to take what your offense does away, and now you've got to process. You've got to see things. You got to get through your reads faster. And if you can't do that, if you're not quite ready to do that, boom, there's where your sophomore slump comes in. There's where you fall back a little bit, and you've got to grow as a quarterback to become better at processing that information, getting through things quickly, knowing what you need to see, and then getting the ball out of your hands.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.